Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to listen in to this brief interview. I had a great opportunity to interview a retired IRS auditor who worked for them for about 20 years. We focused on information and examples through the eyes of an employee on the inside. She provided some valuable advice and feedback based on her experience in cases she and her staff handled while employed with the Internal Revenue Service. Due to the nature of her field of work and out of respect and privacy, we only used her first name and conducted the interview using audio only. So let's take a listen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everyday Daily Real Adult Nonprofit Learning Organization. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we have a special guest here. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about you. So tell us about yourself and how long you work for the IRS.
Hi, my name is Maureen, and I worked for IRS for 19 and a half years as a second career. So I went in and I wasn't sure what the positions were, but I started out as a clerk and then moved up to supervisor of the clerks. And then once realizing that I had a little knowledge, they made me an auditor, which technically is called a correspondence exam technician, that they were all mail audits. They were not in-person audits.
Okay. So what usually triggers an audit for individuals and business owners?
That's a combination of things. It could be a pattern of a particular tax preparer. It could be triggered by a prior audit. If you've been flagged for taking certain credits that you were denied and then you're doing it again. They also can put criteria in to pull out certain things that will match the criteria that they're looking for. If they feel a certain credit or deduction is being abused.
Gotcha. Okay, so if someone owes the IRS a lot of money, are they willing to work with individuals or businesses to make payment arrangements?
Yes, they do. You can set up payment arrangements. They started charging a fee because people were setting up those arrangements and then they weren't honoring them. So they figured if they would charge them a fee, they'd be more conscious of making those payments.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Are there ever any times when the IRS will discharge or waive taxes owed or refuse to work out payment plans?
Yes, if you have set up a prior payment plan and you didn't honor it, they won't set it up again. They will. It could be kind of tricky, and it all depends on the auditor that you get, what rules are in place, which constantly change. And some people are determined as uncollectible.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
So they've been researched extensively to prove that they have no assets.
Okay. So, is it worth contacting an attorney to assist with payment arrangements or default, or are they treated the same as individual taxpayers?
No, there's never a reason to really get an attorney. They've simplified it so much over the years that your average taxpayer can handle anything. If you forget something on your taxes and it's discovered by a person or the system, they will generate a letter letting you know, and it will say you can either amend your tax return or just accept the information in the letter, because it in essence has already amended it and telling you either that you owe additional taxes or you're being owed an additional refund.
Gotcha. Okay. So there are some people who believe the IRS doesn't have a legal right to collect taxes from us. Are there instances when this is actually true, or is this nothing more than conspiracy theories?
Nothing more than conspiracies. Really. Because your tax dollars are used in all public places, like the roads you drive on, the bridges you use, public lights, anything public, all of those tax monies are collected and it gets doled out to the individual states to take care of these things. The states dole them out to the individual counties, and the counties dole them out to the individual cities.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because that's why the census is so important, because those amounts of monies is based on the census.
Gotcha. Okay. So what are the biggest mistakes taxpayers make on their returns that you've seen?
Totally relying on a tax preparer. The harder a tax preparer advertises for your business, we've learned they don't ask all the questions that they should of the taxpayer.
Okay.
They just generalize. For example, they'll say, you know, do you have any kids? And they will say, well, my girlfriend does. And they'll just say, just general, do you live with them? Yes. So now that taxpayer automatically thinks he can claim the girlfriend's 3 kids. Now there's certain credits that he can, and there's certain credits that he can't.
Okay.
And since lately, over the last 5 years, tax preparers have started to charge a percentage of your refund. So some of them, not all, will intentionally puff up that refund because they're going to get a percentage of it.
Oh, wow. That's yeah, I've seen where they actually
Right.
will allow loans and things like that for refunds. And wow, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Is there a special phone number we can call to reach someone at the IRS? Is there like, because I know every time I would have to call, it's like just a circular, just constant, just.
There is just one number, and that's 1-800 829-1040. Just one general.
Just that one number.
It's a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. number across the country. It's that one number. You could be here in Florida and get someone answering California. So each time zone, it doesn't matter what time zone you're in, it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in all of those time zones. The only time you'll get a specific number is if you're fortunate enough to be audited, and you will get a contact person name in their phone.
You said fortunate enough to be audited.
Because but in even that audit, it's easy. An audit is nothing to be paranoid about. An audit is just to kind of just get people to conform to just the basic rules.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like hold feet to the fire, but not burn you, because it's usually that 80-20% rule.
Yeah.
If you can verify 80% of what's on your tax return, they're not going to nickel and dime you for the other 20%.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I gotcha. All right. So, well, tell us about the IRS, something about the IRS that most people may not be aware of.
Never be afraid of those 3 letters, IRS, because behind those 3 letters are just everyday people just doing a job. Some of those everyday people are very lax in their job, and some of those people are very analytical at their job. So it all depends on who you get.
Okay.
And as long as you comply with the basics, like the worst thing you can ever do with an IRS letter is to ignore it. That's the worst.
Good advice.
Just call the number that if they give you a number on that letter, call that number. And even if just to say, I don't understand why I'm being audited.
Yeah.
And then your case is just notated that you called.
Okay.
And then they'll explain, whatever it is to you, and you just comply. It's just that simple. Just give them what they ask for.
Okay. Okay. Good advice. So are there any magic time frames that are better to file to get your refund faster or bypass an audit?
No. I say everyone is going to get audited at least once in their life. And it could be for the simplest thing that, you need your child's birth certificate to verify that it's your child, because it could have been a typographical error where one digit was off and put your child into someone else's tax return.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
And it's just that simple. But no, there is no magic time. What they've started to do was delay electronic any kind of filing because of so much fraud. Because most people figure the sooner that they to January 2nd,
Mhm.
because all the new laws come into effect on January 1st.
Mhm.
So they still have to get that information out to the public
Mhm.
and printed. So that's why they started to delay, because if you file on January 2nd, you're still basically with the old rules, because you have an old tax return.
Right.
So if they've updated it, you don't have it yet, because it's not out there for you yet until January 1.
Mhm.
January 1 is a holiday,
Right.
so you're into January 2nd.
Right.
And because of so much fraud with either not so scrupulous tax preparers, or even something as simple as a divorced couple, where one is supposed to claim certain credits on even years and the other one on odd,
Mhm.
they could not be having such a cohesive time together, and they would just do what they want to do. And think because I filed first, I'm gonna get it.
Mhm.
But then when the correct parent says files, and then IRS will say, oh, no, you can't, you're not entitled to this credit, it's already been claimed.
Right.
And then it's like, well, no, I'm supposed to. It's like, okay, so prove that you're supposed to. And now they have to send, they have the divorce decree.
Mhm.
Okay, now they'll give it to parent B, and parent A, they'll send a letter and say you owe the money back.
Right.
And
I've seen
you
that.
may be assessed with a penalty because you knew you did the wrong thing.
Right. Oh, wow. So they're gonna penalize
So,
you
right.
for doing that.
So you will now owe more than you got.
Gosh, wow.
And
So it doesn't
interest-
pay to try to be
No.
slick.
No.
Okay, if you're divorced and,
No.
you're supposed to be claiming the child 1 year and the other parent another year. It really doesn't pay for you to say, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna go first.
Right.
So you'll get in trouble doing that. That makes sense.
And then on that amount that you owe back, that's more than what you got, because people will argue that. Now, you already did the wrong thing, so not only is it penalty, but until you completely pay that back, interest continues to accrue.
Mhm.
So you will always owe more than what you got.
Wow.
So clearly, is it worth it?
Right. It's not. It's
And
not
most
worth it.
people don't understand that. I always try and explain. When I was doing the audits, I found I was educating them more, because there was so much that they didn't know,
Mhm.
or they've heard different rumors and stories and around.
Right.
So I always say, once you understand the tax system, you will be okay with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I really like that advice. So what is your best advice to taxpayers besides that good one you just shared when preparing their return? Is there anything they should be doing throughout the year?
Just as far as if you have a small business that you're just starting, just save all of your receipts and just go on to the website, irs.gov.
Mhm.
There's a ton of information on that search box. Just ask a question and you'll get a lot of information.
Yeah.
But I say, do it yourself. Don't be afraid to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It is
Look for the
so
information.
easy. I mean, just doing your own taxes.
Yeah.
It's not, the big bad wolf. It's irs.gov offers free file.
Right. They do. Saw that.
And there's so many companies that offer the free file, the certain criteria. Each company has certain criteria. Just pick one, see what you want to fit in, or they have a where they'll ask you some questions, and based on how you answer the question, they'll direct you to the company that's best for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and
Like a robot
yeah,
or a wizard or something.
yeah, wizard, yeah. And based on how you answer those questions, they select the company, you go in, fill out the basic information, your name, your address, your social. It'll ask you questions, and as you're answering those questions, it's actually populating the tax return.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And once everything is all done, and it says, okay, congratulations, you're all done, give you a chance to view it, look at it. Because most people think that you have to have something on every single line of that tax return, and you don't. Maybe only about a third of it to maybe 2/3. But no one ever has something on every single line, unless
Right.
they're zero.
Yeah.
And it automatically put that in.
Yeah.
But it's just simply answering questions.
Yeah.
And it's just
Now, I do know that sometimes there are some really complicated tax returns, especially for businesses.
For businesses, yeah.
And they definitely need accountants or CPAs to help them out because that can be rough trying, kind of figure that out. Individuals, a lot of times they could do those tax returns themselves, if they have the patience to do some research to figure some things out. And those programs that they have actually guide them through a lot of it. So that it actually helps. Personally, my personal tax returns can be complicated. I know there's others out there, individual tax returns can be complicated, but sometimes I know those businesses, especially when you're dealing with K-1 schedules and so forth. Yeah. Like, oh, I need a CPA or an accountant. Y'all need to deal with that. So, but yeah. So I really appreciate all the information that you share. This is gonna really be good information to share with the public. And just not be afraid of the IRS. Exactly. And just when you get letters in the mail, I know when I see a letter from the IRS, I automatically go, oh Lord, you know, but just not panic when you see that, unless you know you don't sound bad. And you may not know. Yeah, and you may not know. Right. So, but this was some really good information. I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and share this information and your stories with us. Thank you so much, and I am going to.
All right. That was some really good information from Lorraine. And I do want to say thank you for joining us. And just remember that the Everyday Daily Real Adult Nonprofit Learning Organization do have other seminars on their website. Feel free to check out www.T.E.D.R.A.nonprofitlearning.org and view all of our videos of different life situations and processes that you may not be aware of. Thank you so much for joining us, and everyone have a very good day.